Well, a very warm welcome to Mr. Hamid Hasan, who is the next guest of our podcast. He has an interesting profile, working primarily on something our country today, and in fact, any country's youth needs today, and that is the right opportunities, the right job opportunities. So, Hamid is an entrepreneur by profession. He has been working in this human resource area for a couple of years. So, before we begin with this conversation, Hamid, a basic introduction about you, like just a brief background. How did you get into this field, and what motivated you to enter this domain of human resources and connecting the employees with the employers and the employers with the right employees?
So, thank you so much, Prince, for having me on this podcast. I'm really excited to talk to you about entrepreneurship and human resources. And if you ask me how I started my entrepreneurial journey, it began way back when I was still in school, when I didn't even know the word entrepreneur. So one day I was sitting with my family, and my cousin brother came back from work, and he asked me, Hamid, what do you want to become when you grow up? I said, I wanted to be a businessman. I was just maybe 10 years old. So he told me, don't say businessman, say I want to become a business tycoon. And that you should, as an affirmation. And I said, okay, I want to become a business tycoon. And he told me, say, I want to become a business tycoon like Vijay Mallya, because Vijay Mallya was a billionaire and a business tycoon in those days. And slowly, gradually, when I was in college, I got into commerce, and I started developing interest in business. So I
Mhm.
started some small businesses, some small trades, buying and selling commodities in college days. And I was in a small town in Aurangabad where I sold leather jackets on order, and I made good amount of profit on it, and that gave me confidence. So there was an opportunity to hire for a school, and it was by chance that I took that role as a freelance, I would say. And then I was successfully able to recruit an employee there. And
Mhm.
then I realized this is something which is interesting, which gives me satisfaction, as obviously I made money, but I also helped someone get a job. So to continue that, I decided that I will expand my business and I will get more and more clients and give them service. That's how I started with the recruitment firm. And later, when I realized that I'm able to service companies, service candidates, but I'm not able to do it at mass, because as an individual, or even if we build a team, we can do a limited services, we can do limited candidates, we can provide limited closures, we can do. The problem I was trying to identify was that what if there is some solution that can fasten the process, and that can also help the organizations in hiring more better
Mhm.
quality candidates.
Mhm.
So that's when I realized that if there is a software which can streamline the hiring process, like an applicant tracking system, which is not widely used in the education domain, then it can solve a problem which can be affordable at a reasonable price and can be used widely, because it's a software, it's a cloud software, it can be used wisely by as many users as possible. So
Mhm.
that's how the journey of AdJobster, my startup, began. The idea came to me in 2020, but it began in 2022, that we started developing, we started doing more marketing, and now we have developed also AI tools in the HR and education domain, apart from our main product, which is there.
Mhm. That sounds really interesting. Since you've been working in the hiring process, the connection of the employers with the employees, a very common and a very burning question today everyone faces is, I would begin with that question. The question says, is there really a lack of job opportunities in the Indian job market, or do we have, let's say, a lack of skills in the youth because of which they're not able to get the jobs? So, since you've been working with a lot of candidates and with a lot of employers as well, what's your take on this? What do you find more common?
See, there are problems in employment. Right now, our rate of unemployment is 8.3% in
Mhm.
India, which has increased during the last few months. We can say both things are there. There are not much opportunities, or there are not the right skills. But there are a lot of opportunities. I can see that every company is hiring, they are expanding, but they are not able to find the right skill set people. So there is a problem with unemployability.
Mhm.
Even if you have a certain skills, you are not matching the whole requirement. So it is unemployability. Our youth is actually unemployable. They have done their degrees, they have the required qualification which is there, but when they come on ground to work, they don't have the skills or the capabilities to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the whole role of any employee, to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
There could be some technical skills, there could be some interpersonal skills which are missing, and this is something which is not widely addressed in any the majority of education institutions, higher education institutions, and the youth which is doing their degrees are not able to get a job, secure a job, get hired, because they don't have the right skills which are in demand.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know that there is an evolution every few
Mm-hmm.
years, and the skill sets change, like AI has come in. So even for the tech people, they need additional skill sets, they need to continuously upskill,
Mm-hmm.
so they match up with the requirements of the companies, of the clients of the companies that they want to build.
Mm-hmm.
So there is certainly opportunities are there,
Mm-hmm.
but people are not able to hit the right opportunity with the right skill set.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is something I believe a very common problem often the young generation of our country faces, that there's a gap between what is taught in the universities, colleges, as compared to what is needed in the industry to actually perform that particular task in the job. So, how could this problem be sorted according to you? Let's say there's a gap. Do the students need to complete some certifications? Do they help? Do the students need to, go for opportunities, like let's say unpaid internships or so to get some hands-on experience, or should they be, leveraging some online resources? How could a student be bridging this gap, because the university or the college is not helping? P- Definitely not to a great extent when it comes to getting the right opportunities in the industries.
So obviously there is a gap between the education that the student is pursuing and the skill sets which are required. That can be filled obviously by additional courses that you can do online. But at the end, when you won't practice, you won't be a pro in that, right? So practice is important. And here, apart from the college, because college has a certain curriculum that they have to deliver, student give exams, and that is done. They have scored, they have grades. They are not majorly focusing on whether the person has developed the right skills or not. But there are two things. One is either the companies have their own institutions where they train, like Zoho has, Infosys has,
Mm-hmm.
HCL has. They have their own centers, training centers. They hire freshers, they train them, and then they deploy them in the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing is that there are finishing schools. Even Adani has recently invested in a finishing school in Mumbai where
Mm-hmm.
they will train students, they will train college graduates on their interpersonal skills, on their technical skills. And finishing school plays an important role because they don't just polish you on the skills for the job, but they also polish your personality, your interpersonal skills, how you should
Mm-hmm.
walk, how you should talk, your etiquettes. All these things are taught, so you are ready for the corporate world. You are ready to be a real professional
Mm-hmm.
with ethics. So, finishing schools can solve a problem for for the problem of unemployability, because
Mm-hmm.
there are certain skills which are beyond the technical skills and the skills required to get the job done. Your
Mm-hmm.
attitude, your ethics, your commitment,
Mm-hmm.
your communication skills, all these things also matter. So
Mm-hmm.
or clubbing it all together, finishing school can be a good solution to help the transition for the college students into a job
Mm-hmm.
with the right skill set and confidence.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that brings up an interesting point. Like apart from certifications and some online resources students can refer to, they can preferably or they can try out finishing schools. But just out of curiosity, I would like to ask: are these finishing schools available for candidates on a large basis, or is it just like candidates who have been selected by selected companies are eligible to go to these finishing schools?
Finishing schools are different from the company's training centers.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing schools, there are different colleges. You can say they are also colleges, but their focus is not on engineering subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Their focus is more on the personality of
Mm-hmm.
the person and the skills, the interpersonal skills of the person, to help them be ready for the professional world.
Mm-hmm.
So it is available. There are very few finishing schools in India, but they're doing very good job.
Mhm.
And we don't look at it like, why do we need that? We also have a person already have a personality. But it is very important. If you're coming from a, I would say, tier 2, tier 3 city, and you did not had the exposure to professionalism there, you should go to a finishing school and learn those skills. Because if
Mhm.
you want to sit on the top of the table, you better be ready
Mhm.
and with the right attitude, confidence, and skills.
Mhm. Okay, okay, that's really going to be helpful for anyone looking for the right opportunities. Uh, Hamid, I want to ask, let's say if a student, if a professional who has completed, let's say, post qualification, post graduation, has completed the graduation part from a good college or from a decent college, what often happens is they do not know where to apply for the opportunities. What often I hear from a lot of students is that we are applying on platforms, let's say Naukri.com, Indeed.com, LinkedIn, and many more, but we do not often get a call. Like, what could be the possible issue? Are they doing something wrong? Do they need to do something differently? Should they be looking for more referrals instead of applying directly on the websites? So, what is your observation on this?
So from a recruiter point of view, I can give you real insights.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also screen a lot of applications from many job portals at the same time, the database that I have. The problem is when as a candidate, as a job seeker, when you're applying for a job, you're just blindly applying. Because in Naukri, you can just simply apply. On any
Mm-hmm.
portal, you just have to fill the form, you apply.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the job description, you don't see what are the skills which are required, and you don't see what is the experience which is required. So you are just applying blindly. You would say that I have applied to 100 jobs, but I did not get any call. But did you see whether those jobs were as per your skill sets,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you want to apply for get a job, I have advised people, and I have even found good results out of it. And it varies from industry to industry. Let me give you an example. Just a close relative who is a physiotherapist, she wanted to apply for a job in hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and she applied online, but she was not able to get the job. So I told her, see, hospitals are not hiring or headhunting on online portals. Even I don't see any jobs by any hospital, mostly hospitals
Mm-hmm.
for doctors. So it is mostly through referrals, right? If they have an opening, internal referrals by doctors in their own niche circle, they hire. Or there are HR consulting who only specializes in hiring in hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now they are not screening applications online. They are not doing that. But the HR who is hiring, he is personally reviewing the applications that has come their way, and they're only interviewing that. So I told her, if you want to apply in hospital as a fresher,
Mm-hmm.
you should visit the hospitals in Delhi, and you should drop your CV in the HR department, talk to them for a minute, and later, as they have the vacancy, they will call you. Within a week, she got a call from Apollo and she got selected as a fresher.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she worked there for 2, 3 years. There was an opportunity in Ames,
Mm-hmm.
Delhi. She did not apply through any portal or so. She got the job through a referral.
Mm-hmm.
A person in work, a colleague of her was working in Apollo
Mm-hmm.
in Ames, Delhi, and she referred her profile to the HR because she was the right fit, and they selected her. So
Mm-hmm.
in the in the medical fraternity, this is something which will work.
Mm-hmm.
But if we talk about the technical uh, jobs, which are more of IT and business,
Mm-hmm.
there they are hiring in masses. If we talk about the technical, if
Mm-hmm.
HCL or Infosys is hiring, they are hiring in masses. So they are using applicant tracking systems, they are using softwares, they are using evaluation tools to firstly you give your proctor test. So they evaluate your scores,
Mm-hmm.
your skills, whether you have the right technical skills or not, and then they hire. So it's very important to firstly identify how the company is hiring,
Mm-hmm.
what is the mode of talent acquisition they are doing, whether they are hiring on Naukri, whether they are hiring from their website, whether they are hiring in a walk-in interviews, and whatever the mode is there,
Mm-hmm.
and then you apply through that mode.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two is when you are applying for the job, every job is different. The job descriptions are different, the responsibilities are different, and they see if you are a fresher or even an experienced person. If you are a fresher, whether you have the right skills or not. If you are an experienced person, whether you have done at least 50 to 60% of the responsibilities in your past job as is expected in this job.
Mm-hmm.
So it should reflect in your resume, right? So recently, to solve this problem, because people apply but they don't get shortlisted through the applicant tracking system, the AI tools that the company has
Mm-hmm.
to shortlist the candidates, we developed an AI tool named CV Tuner,
Mm-hmm.
where you can upload your resume, you can fine tune your CV
Mm-hmm.
by just putting the job description of the job that you want to apply for. It will automatically add the right keywords,
Mm-hmm.
skill sets in the resume. So when you upload your resume and apply for the company, they can see whether that you have the right skills as matching with the skills of the job description. So
Mm-hmm.
that will give you an upper hand, you will have a higher matching score. But also, if you have a high matching score, still you don't have the right skill set because you just applied as you were applying to 100 jobs,
Mm-hmm.
you won't get selected. You
Mm-hmm.
should first target down. The third very important thing is you should target down, narrow down your job preferences, the sector you want to work in, the roles that you want to work in, and you should align your skills with the job that you want to apply for.
Mm-hmm.
If you will narrow that down, you won't apply for 100 jobs. You will shortlist, let's say, 5 jobs. You will focus on them. You can apply for the on the right talent acquisition source that the company is hiring from, and there will be higher chances for you to get selected and get the interview call.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my take on how fresher or experienced people should apply for job. If you want to get hired, applying for 100 jobs is not going to help you or anybody.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a really practical problem. Often, what happens is freshers usually keep applying for jobs, thinking that we should at least get something if you're not able to get any specialized job, because of which they apply in bulk, and then there's high disappointment that we are applying for 150 jobs on different platforms every day, but we're not getting a call. So, focusing on specific domains you would want to go in would be helpful so that we can align the profile in a way that we are just applying to match the requirements of the employers instead of just randomly including the skills. Okay, but this comes an interesting question, and the question is about CV. You talked about resumes, CVs. You must have seen many CVs, resumes. What do you find as the biggest mistakes people often make while preparing their resumes and CVs, and how to avoid them?
So when I have seen the best CVs also, I have seen the worst CVs also. Just yesterday, I got a CV of a 20 years of experienced person, a
Mhm.
one pager where they did not mention their 20 years of employment history. Just in a paragraph, they mentioned I have 20 years of experience. I have worked in these organizations. About their qualification, they mentioned just, let's say, MSc and PhD or so. No, did not mention from which institution, in which year, and also about other things just in one page. Now that is the worst CV. I still interviewed that person because he had the experience. Then I asked him to send me a proper resume. Later he sent me. So the first thing is you should have your resume in a certain format which is readable. You
Mhm.
should know that within a minute an HR is going to either shortlist or reject within a
Mhm.
minute. I would say minute is also just 10 to 15 seconds.
Mhm.
I just look at the resume. If it is readable, I will go through it. If it is not readable and I see that they don't have the right skills or experience, I just move on.
Mhm.
I won't spend more time on it. I will just see if they have the right skills, go ahead. If not, no. So if you
Mhm.
will make it simple for the HR that in 10 seconds they can identify, they can read if you have the right skills matching the requirement of the job, they will go ahead. So at the certain format is very important, which you can make with any. There are so many tools which are there, and our software CV Tuner, which is free for job seekers to create their resume, they can apply. They can make on that while filling a form. You can
Mhm.
create it in a PDF doc. You can download it. So the right format is important. Number two, you should add keywords, skill sets in the resume to help the recruiter understand what skill sets you have. You should not fake your resume in a way that the skills which you don't have, you should not mention that.
Mhm.
Because when once you, even if you get a call to for the screening call,
Mhm.
and you are being asked questions about the skill sets that you have added in that, and if you don't have those skill sets while you are expressing yourself, you won't get the next round of interview. You will be rejected. So
Mhm.
it's better to balance that. Yeah, it's fine if you're faking it a little, but you should be able to justify your skills if
Mhm.
you don't have those skills, right?
Mhm.
So these are the two things. Second thing is, third thing is about the experience. If I talk about an experienced person, I will not hire any person who is hopping jobs every 1 year,
Mhm.
because that is not a reliable person.
Mhm.
He's not going to stay for more than 1 year. And I want, even my client, or even I want to hire a person who would work for minimum 2 years with me,
Mhm.
and maximum as many years as possible.
Mhm.
So everybody wants to hire someone who can be trusted,
Mhm.
right? So that is something that the candidates should understand, that you should have a career plan. Wherever I will work, I will work for minimum 2 years. I will not leave, because that is considered as a good ethical practice.
Mhm.
And if you are working for 5 years, that is equivalent to you have worked for 25 years. Because
Okay.
earlier, people who used to work for 25 years, I would say around 20 years from now, there were people who used to give their life to a company. There were people who used to give at least 25 years to a company. Even if you are giving 5 years in a company right now, that is equivalent to giving 25 years, because people now want drastic change every few years. They want to grow, and they
Mhm.
can only grow while they switch their job, and the market is very saturated. So it is considered very good if you have worked in a company for minimum 5 years.
Mhm.
So these are things that I read in a resume.
Mhm.
And the candidates should understand, if you make your resume in a readable format,
Mhm.
right? If we talk about AI, ATS, it will pass through that. But if it is not in a readable format, and if it does not speak your personality, your credibility from the resume, any HR see whether the person is credible, whether the person is even incredible
Mhm.
in their job, identify that, and then take it ahead. So
Mhm.
you make your resume which speak about you, about your attitude.
Mhm. Okay, so that's really insightful because uh, often resume building is something we don't focus on a lot, and then when the resumes get rejected, there's disappointment that why they are getting rejected. Now there's a term called this ATS and AI friendly resume. Could you throw some light on this part, like how to make a resume ATS friendly? What are the key factors to be considered so that it does not get rejected right in the first screening part only?
So the first thing about getting through the ATS system is the right format.
Mm-hmm.
Because here is a software which is designed to read a certain format, take the data out of it, and put it in the fields which is designed in the front
Mm-hmm.
end and the back end. So the right format is very important. And how you can get the right format, if there is applicant tracking system, there is CV tuners also, who can design the resume which will complement the applicant tracking system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to use CV builder, CV tuner, which can make the resume which will go through the applicant tracking system. Number one is the format. Number two is the key skills, because when ATS is there, ATS is not is actually parsing the data, and it is giving a score to every candidate application matching with the job description.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you should fine tune your resume with the job description keywords, job description key skills, job description responsibilities, which are
Mm-hmm.
mentioned in the job description. You should add those in your past experiences, or write those keywords in the in your resume. So when the ATS is screening your application, it gives you a score that this person has the key skills which are also in the job description, and this person is, let's say, 73% suitable for the job,
Mm-hmm.
right? So an applicant tracking system gives a score to the candidate as per their key skills which are mentioned in the resume. And if you have it in the right format, so it can easily pull the data from your resume document and pass it in the form of the software which the recruiter is using.
Mm-hmm.
So the right format is very important, and the right keywords mentioned in it in the right format is something
Mm-hmm.
which should be considered by every candidate while they are applying.
Okay, so this is regarding the resume building part. I hope this is going to be very, very helpful to everyone who is wanting to get a job opportunity and make their resume in the right way. Uh, there comes a small thing which often is required with the resumes, and it is the cover letter. Often candidates are confused. Should we really be, attaching a cover letter with the resume all the time we are applying for a job? Should the cover letter be customized for every job opportunity we are applying for, or should it be a standard letter that we attach with the resume all the time we are applying? So, what's your take on this cover letter part?
Cover letter is a personalized letter to the hiring manager.
Mm-hmm,
And it means that if you're giving a letter, let's say instead of letter, you're writing a mail.
mm-hmm,
So if you're writing a mail, it should be personalized. It should not be a standard mail which you're sending to 100 people,
mm-hmm,
right? It should reflect that you know about the job. It should reflect that you know about the responsibilities, and it should reflect that you have the right skills and you are fit for the job.
mm-hmm,
Because there is a chance that the HR will read that, but the HR will only read that cover letter if you have personalized it,
mm-hmm,
right? If you're talking about their company's culture, you have seen that their company culture is very good. You are talking to them about their activities that they do in office, the initiatives that they take. It should impress the HR,
mm-hmm,
right? So it should not be a uh, standard cover letter that you should
mm-hmm,
send to everyone. It should be a customized, and it should impress the HR in a way that they should think to consider you for an interview.
mm-hmm. And should it be always a part of the resume which we are sending, or can it be like only uploaded when it is a mandatory requirement in the on the website of a company?
Only if it is mandatory, it should be uploaded.
Mm-hmm,
Because let's say there is some research role or some other role which they want a cover letter, they want an SOP, they
mm-hmm,
want something like that. Then only it should be uploaded. But for other roles like freshers, a junior level roles, I don't think it is required, because you will be anyway at a very lower level
mm-hmm,
in the organization.
mm-hmm,
But if you are in a mid level of the organization, then you need to justify why they should hire you.
mm-hmm,
You need to, here you are selling yourself to get a job.
mm-hmm,
So you should also have, as a job seeker, you should also know how to sell.
mm-hmm,
A selling skill should also be developed while you are in college.
mm-hmm,
That is useful everywhere, not just in business, in life.
mm-hmm,
Every day we sell ideas, we sell lies, and a
mm-hmm,
lot of things.
mm-hmm,
So why not sell yourself to get a job?
mm-hmm. And your resume should be acting as an instrument that talks loudly about the skills you have. It represents what your accomplishments have been. So that's really nice. I think. Uh, Now, the next question I would have is going to be a bit on the AI skills part. Usually, what happens is there are a lot of ads going on these days that we should be investing our time in AI tools, technologies, AI related skills, how to use ChatGPT. But no matter which job profile you're applying for, you should be updated with the AI skills and all. So, is it really that important in today's job market? Definitely in the future, it is going to be. But how often do employers look for these specific skills as well? Like, do they add some value to a candidate's profile if they read or study about AI tools?
When there was no computer,
Mm-hmm,
people have to switch to the computers. They had to use laptops and internet,
mm-hmm,
because this was something which was new. There was a resistance by employees, but there was a transition going on from everything, from paperwork to everything getting in computers, data to be stored in computers,
mm-hmm,
right? Now, same thing goes with AI. It is not actually replacing employees, but it is being incorporated in every system,
mm-hmm,
in every procedures that we have in the organization. So I would say everybody should learn how to use these tools. It's not a hard skill, it's a soft skill. You
mm-hmm,
don't have to code. There
mm-hmm,
are tools which you can use to make your work easy,
mm-hmm,
right? And companies are encouraging people to use AI tools to reduce your time of work.
mm-hmm,
But don't be completely rely on AI.
mm-hmm,
If I want to write a script, I will certainly use AI for a video script, but I will first uh, put my words in it. I will create the idea, what I want to talk about, how I want to talk about,
Mhm,
what is the problem. And after that, even what I do, if I want to write a script, I want to write a letter, I first write that by
mhm,
myself, because I don't want to put my brain to stop. I use that, and
mhm,
later I put it on AI and I make it in a more professional way.
mhm,
And then also I edit it how
mhm,
I want it,
mhm,
because it cannot speak
mhm,
how I feel,
mhm,
right? So I think AI should be learned by everyone,
mhm,
but we should not completely rely on AI, and it's a must have skill.
mhm. Definitely. I think that's a really important thing to consider. That regarding the AI part, you said we should not be 100% reliant on AI, given the fact that it is a skill which would be useful in the upcoming years and definitely is being used today as well. Uh, So it sounds a lot, let's say, interesting to listen to these ideas. And with this comes sort of, a curiosity in my mind. Hamid, you've been, in the entrepreneurship world, wherein a lot of people today do not go for entrepreneurship as such. By and large, everyone is looking for job opportunities. So what do you think are the biggest challenges an entrepreneur faces? And if someone really wants to be an entrepreneur, how do they stay in the game without quitting? Because even if anybody wants to be an entrepreneur, they try and experiment with one or two ideas, they fail, and then they quit, and then they apply for jobs. I know many people in my circle as well who wanted to be an entrepreneur, but they had to go for jobs because it didn't work out. You, on the other hand, have been in this entrepreneurial journey for a while. So, what makes a person keeps going in the entrepreneurship journey? And if someone wants to be one, what tips would you have for them?
Entrepreneurship is a roller coaster ride.
Mhm,
It is a new challenge every day in your life. And I have faced many challenges in these years, but I have learned one thing, that it is not there forever. And these challenges, I look at it as opportunities
mhm,
that has come my way, and I have to tackle the problems, grab that opportunity, get the work done, and move ahead for the next goal.
mhm,
So there are many challenges. If somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, they need to understand one thing: it's a full-time thing. It's not
mhm,
a part-time thing. You cannot, it is fine if you are doing a job, if you're managing two things, but at certain point, if you want to grow, you better take it full time, get involved in it, and be patient. Because what I have realized, what I have studied, is everyone take everything in entrepreneurship takes time.
mhm,
If you look at all the successful people, they did not become billionaires and successful in a day.
mhm,
If Bill Gates became a billionaire by the age of 21, you should know that he was coding softwares for his school at the age of 11,
mhm,
right? If Elon Musk became a billionaire at a young age, you should know that when he was a teenager, he built games and he sold it for $1 million.
mhm,
If he's sending rockets to the moon, to Mars, it is not just it did not happen in a day.
mhm,
It happened because he started early. So if you're still thinking that when you should start to be an entrepreneur, it is today, but
mhm,
you should be ready for it, because there will be days where you might have funds in your business, but you might not have money in your pocket, and you have to pass through that day,
mhm,
right? So there are many challenges that an entrepreneur, when they start, they face. One of the challenges is funding. They don't have enough cash flow or fund to start the business, because if you talk about software, you have to build a software. If we talk about products, you have to build a product, purchase raw material, and there is an initial capital that is required
mhm,
for any business. In services, there are certain services, if you have the skills, then you can give service and make money. But where there is a product or a software which is required, you have to first build that, and you need an initial capital for that. So my advice is that if you are into a job, try to save some money and try to build that product while you are working.
mhm,
Or if you have enough funds, then start with it, because it will be a very hard journey if you
Mhm.
don't have funds to build the product or the service.
Mhm.
The second thing is, just a second, just a second, I have to see. Uh, Entrepreneurship, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So the second thing is, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to have the right team. Right team is very important. The people you are working with, they should be trusted. They should be with you on this roller coaster ride that you are going through. They should understand the challenges. They should be in for every problem that
Mhm.
you are facing. A trusted team who understand the vision, the mission of yours, and they are working alongside you.
Mhm.
And the third important thing is, even if you have the funds, let's say you have the team, but if you are not able to build the right product,
Mhm.
the product that can be sold for to get enough revenue to run the business for a year or so, the business will fail. So you
Mhm.
need to have the right product placement, you need to identify the right market, and you need to take the right decisions
Mhm.
to put the product in the right place. And one more advice I can say, if you are building a product and you are stuck, you are not able to move ahead,
Mhm.
right? Just give me a moment. There is a term that I want to say.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. So there is a saying in the corporate world, riding the dead horse,
Mhm.
and an entrepreneur should not do that. Do you know what that means, Pratik? Sorry. Do you know what that means, Prince? So riding a dead horse means if there is a product which is not working,
Mhm.
which is not being sold, the management is having meetings again and again, believing that it is going to work, and they are changing strategies, they are pulling in more funds, they are putting money on marketing, but they are not ready to replace that horse. They are still riding that dead horse, which they have squeezed, they have taken all juice out of it, and there is nothing left on it. But still, they are trying, that they are believing, which is their misbelief, that this product is ready, this product is right, there is no problem with it, it is just not being sold.
Mhm.
So you should not ride the dead horse. If something is not working in the business, the product is not working, the business model is not working, you need to pivot, and you need to revisit your plans, the basics, you need to work out on it, and you need to pivot and make the right different strategy.
Mhm.
You should not ride the dead horse.
Mhm.
So these are the things that an entrepreneur who wants to start should keep in mind. There will be challenges every day, there will be rejections.
Mhm.
People are not able to cope up with rejection. There will be times when you have spoken to a person, you are thinking that they will convert to a client or they will buy your product, but then they ghost you. What are you
Mhm.
going to do about it? You can't do anything about it. But you don't have to be, upset about it or get angry about it. Rather, try to identify, be open to feedback, like what is going wrong, and you need to restart the things which are going in the wrong direction.
Mhm.
So these are the things that any person who is thinking to start their business, they should consider these three, four things: that they should have the right funding, they should have the right team, they should be building the right product in the right market, they should be open to feedback, and they should pivot if things are not working out. They should pivot and re-strategize on their business, because
Mhm.
if they will keep on holding to that dead horse, they won't be able to make money. And anyway, the way you said that people are quitting entrepreneurship and going back to jobs,
Mhm.
that is something that they are going to do. And you have to be persistent
Mhm.
and courageous. You will fall, but you still have to stand up and go ahead,
Mhm.
because there is competition. But when I have such good mentors, and I can, gratefully I say that even we have not achieved like $1 million or $1 billion turnover, but when I meet people, people trust me.
Mhm.
And that is something which is a blessing, because if you are going to get business, and the other person should trust you, because they will only give you business if they believe in you.
Mhm.
So you have to build credibility as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have the right mentors who can guide you in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
because you are a newbie. You don't know how things work. But if you have the right mentors who can guide you in your entrepreneurial journey, it is going to help you be successful. And one thing has to be keeping in mind, that there will be failures and you have to open for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think yes, often it becomes uh, a matter of attachment. Startup founders are not willing to change the product because it is sort of an attachment for them. They don't want to, pivot, make some changes to adapt to the market. And we should rather be starting with the problem statement instead of thinking we would be selling something. We need to be solving something to be an entrepreneur is something. I believe.
I think I would like to add one thing there,
Mhm,
Prince. I learned it while I was starting. And you need to keep this in mind as an entrepreneur,
mhm,
that you have to love the problem and not the solution that you have built.
mhm,
Don't love the solution that you have built, the product you have built. Don't believe that this is the next big thing, the next billion dollar thing that I have built.
mhm,
Rather, focus on the problem, like, and love that problem. Fall in love with it in such a way that you will change your solutions to solve that problem.
mhm,
Then only you will be able to make the go to market and product market fit, and then you will be able to scale your business.
mhm,
So my advice, love the problem, not the solution. Don't get attached to your business, don't get attached to the product. Rather focus and get attached to the problem.
mhm. Uh, Hamid, you talked about mentorship's role uh, in becoming successful, particularly in entrepreneurship. Mentorship definitely would be helping in anything we are doing. But often people find it difficult to get good mentors. Like how can a person who is, let's say, a fresher or let's say has some experiences looking for a mentor in a specific area? Are there any specific websites or how does a person find the right mentor?
So there are certainly websites. There are websites for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly there are websites to find mentors and mentees. Uh, and if you want to firstly find a right mentor, you need to identify, like, what kind of skills or guidance you are looking at,
Mm-hmm.
right? If there is a technical product you are building, business you are building, you need a person with more tech and business experience, not a techie, because that techie will give you the feedback on your product mentorship, how you should do your project management and all. But you also need a mentor who can also give you advice on how you should build your business,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need mentor like that. How you can find it? You can see people on LinkedIn. You can reach out to them. You can connect with them. You can ask for a call. You can tell them that I am building this and I wanted some advice. I want to talk to you about it. Connect with them. And there are very nice people,
Mm-hmm.
right? There are very nice people. They welcome young entrepreneurs. They want people to be successful. They will give you time. And it's a blessing to be a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
because when you see your mentee getting success
Mm-hmm.
by your advice, it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what a mentor is looking for. It's not always about money for a mentor. And if that mentor is already making a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
right, giving a 2 minute advice you know won't give you success.
Mm-hmm.
But a good mentor grills you. He does not just appreciate whatever you are doing. He tells you what wrong you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are open to uh, you know if you are open to the feedback, and you are ready to pivot and change, then only you will be able to grow.
Mm-hmm.
When I was thinking, when let me tell you, when I was thinking of building the business, I was thinking of lots of ideas. And my mentor is my one of my uncles,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to go to his house and tell him I have thought of this idea, this is the business model, this is that. And he used to just grill me why it is not possible.
Mm-hmm.
Then I used to go again. I used to revisit problems, the things I did wrong in that business model, the idea. Then I would think of some other idea. I must have written hundreds of ideas on
Mm-hmm.
paper, but I did not implement any of them. I won't say those were not possible business plans, because all those ideas which I was thinking in 2016 and 17 were similar to like urban companies, Zomato, and these kind of ideas I had.
Mhm.
But somehow I did not go ahead with it. But we thought about it. And my mentor grilled me so much. I was pissed off, obviously, but I also looked at it in a way that he's guiding me to be in the right direction. And he's still my mentor. He still guides me on the technical problems that I face. And he's happy when I'm successful.
Mhm.
So having the right mentor is very important. It is not supposed to be somebody out of the world, but it can be around you in your family who are in business, who are in technical jobs. You can get advice, mentorship from them as well.
Mhm.
And if you are not able to find the right people, if you are in a family where you don't have the exposure to people who have achieved a lot in life, then you should find people on LinkedIn. I think that is the right platform where you should find people and connect with them.
Mhm. Okay, uh, like finding mentors online via LinkedIn sounds interesting, and people can definitely do that. With the LinkedIn part, there is something called, building a strong online presence, uh, which often I believe today HRs do look at the LinkedIn profiles of candidates as well to see what this person is up to. So, would there be any points a person should be keeping in mind to form their LinkedIn profile in such a way that it looks attractive to a person, even if, let's say, you send a message to someone on LinkedIn to be your mentor, they are definitely going to be looking at your profile, and it should be, made in such a way that it reflects your personality, your work experience, your qualifications. If you're a fresher, you want to focus on that, your accomplishments. So, how important role does creating a good profile on LinkedIn play in a person's search for the right opportunities in the market?
Well, LinkedIn is a platform that I won't say just help people get a job, but it shows your personality, who
Mhm.
you are professionally. So your profile should speak about how good you are in what you do. It should talk about your thought process, and it should reflect who you are. Obviously, HRs, when they find a candidate, they have put up their LinkedIn profile in while applying for the job. They look at it, they see what you have been doing, your activities, your past experiences, certificates, your testimonials which people have written about you on that. It should be in a good format. It should be, again, resume is there. It should be in the right format.
Mhm.
LinkedIn is your digital resume.
Okay, that's a
So
new term.
it is actually a digital resume.
Mhm.
It's online, it's publicly available. I even find people not from resume. I find there are some executive level roles. Those people are actually not people who are in the executive role are not actually headhunting jobs
Mhm.
on Naukri or any job portal. So you have to find them in these kind of professional platforms. So I even find those people and their profile speaks about them. That is their resume.
Mhm.
That is who they are. So if you are looking as a mentee,
Mhm.
if you need to have the right, I would say, LinkedIn profile, you should have the right recommendations. If you have from any internships, if you can get that, it should speak about in your about section. It should
Mhm.
speak about what you are doing, what you are building, and what is your vision, what you are passionate about. So
Mhm.
all these things, if you mention in your CV, then the mentor whom you have reached out to would be surely be interested,
Mhm.
right? And if he will also be interested if his skills, his experience is useful to what you are looking at, to what your vision is.
Mhm.
If he sees your profile, your vision is in, let's say, medical fraternity, and this guy is the mentor, is into engineering.
Mhm.
So, do you think his experience will help you? His
Not
engineering
really.
experience will help you in the medical? Not, it won't.
Mhm.
So, if he, because people do reach out to me for something, for some advice, and I see that it is not my domain, I might not be able to contribute. But I don't just leave them. I don't say no. I try to find someone who can help, and I connect them to that person. And I tell them, you can give my reference, you can talk to that person, and they will certainly help.
Mhm.
And that's how the network works. That is what networking is all about.
Mhm.
And you're on networking on LinkedIn is good, but I prefer that people should go out and network in events. So it makes a personal connection. It also builds your confidence in personality,
Mhm.
and people remind you when they meet you.
Mhm. So events like conferences, seminars, workshops.
Yes, workshops, seminars, that is online, but
Mhm.
there you don't get a chance to interact much. But in offline events like conferences, any meetups,
Mhm.
if there are community platforms, community groups
Mhm.
of every, let's say HRs also have a community.
Mhm.
So if there is some HR organization who is doing a meetup, you should go visit those people. So you build a network. If there is a networking event for let's say tech professionals, you
Mhm.
should go that. You should go there. You should meet those people. So you
Mhm.
build a network, and you won't be able to encash that network now, but at certain point of time in future, you will realize that if some work comes to you, you think that that is the person whom I met who was
Mhm.
doing a similar thing, who has the right skills. I can reach out to that person. So it works in that way. So you should network offline. And
Mhm.
if there is a very high profile person
Mhm.
whom you are trying to reach on LinkedIn, they are not responding. And let's say you meet that person in a physical, in a personal event,
Mhm.
in a conference, and you introduce yourself. Now he is actually impressed with you now, and now he will be ready to talk to you, but he was not responding to you offline. So isn't that a better thing? So
Mhm.
why not meet people personally, build
Mhm.
trust and confidence, and then uh, do and if you want to get a business or mentorship, then you can take things ahead in that way.
Mhm. Okay, so often it is said today, your network is your net worth. How many people you
Yeah.
know, the domains from which you know the people. Who knows? You might get a referral. You might get the right opportunity from your network. That's really interesting. Hamid, I often meet a lot of college students, a lot of college graduates, postgraduates, and they all have a common doubt, that is where to begin from, how to enter the job market, because till their academic life they've been focusing just on the books. They do not know a lot about the industry part, how does the mechanism work, and how does the whole process of their transition from academia to your industry is going to work out. What step-by-step process would you lay down for a complete fresher who does not have any information of what should they be doing? Like, should they be focusing on their resumes, CVs, creating a good LinkedIn profile? Should they be adding more people from the relevant companies? So, what steps would you be suggesting for our fresh, graduates or people who have just come out of academics?
If you are a fresher,
Mhm.
you should firstly keep a white paper
Mhm.
and write down your career plan, what you want to do in life. You have done your graduation. Now, you need to write down what skills you have developed. And with these skills, what are your interests in job? Whether you want to be, if you have done, let's say, BCom, whether you want to be in HR, you want to be in business development, you want
Mhm.
to be in marketing, or you want to be in finance, right? You need to
Mhm.
first write that down. Now, let's say you finalize finance as a role that you want to work in, the domain that you want to work in. Have you developed the right skills for that role? If you have, then you should go ahead, build a resume with those skills. If you are in your graduation, you should opt in for certain internships in that role.
Mhm.
So you develop the skills, the right skills, you learn the professional behavior, ethics, and you also learn how to do the work.
Mhm.
From the theoretical knowledge that you have learned is one thing, but you need to have the experience, the operations of the work,
Mhm.
which is important, right? So you need to do the internships in that role which you have studied about and which is also of your interest,
Mhm.
because now you will be passionate about that role and you will do the right things to get that job.
Mhm.
And if you don't have the skills which you did not which you were not taught in college, you should go for some online course to get those skills.
Mhm.
There are many courses on from accredited universities on Swayam portal. You can find the courses and you also get credits for of it, and you also learn real time.
Mhm.
So this is one thing that I would suggest. First, take plan your career journey, what you want to do, in which stream you want to work. Let's have one or two options, and then build your resume. And as I told you previously, you should build your resume
Mhm.
for different resumes for every job that you are applying for. That's how, if you have it written, what you want to do, in which companies you want to work, you will be able to do the right things in the next steps, like
Mhm.
building resume, applying for the job. I told you in the beginning how you should apply for a job, to firstly understand what talent acquisition streams the HR is using, and then apply through that so you get a chance to get a call.
Mhm. So primarily, you need to be focusing on building the right skills. Number one, the practical application of what you have theoretically learned. Then you should be moving ahead to the application part of it. Uh, Probably looking for some, let's say, real life projects or unpaid internships as well. And then actually enter, the field of application wherein you're preparing a resume and then applying for the jobs. Uh, According to the experience I've had, I've spoken with a lot of finance background students, primarily. Uh, what they often say is people who are good with technical skills even get rejected in the interviews, and people who are not good at technical skills but they're good at speaking communication, they get hired just like this. So, how important is it for a person to focus on expressiveness of whatever skills they have, whatever personality they have? Does it play a role?
Communication skills plays the most important role.
Mm-hmm.
It reflects who you are, right? So even in finance roles, if I talk about, even if you are working as a consultant or an auditor in a big four, you need to have the you need to be presentable.
Mm-hmm.
So the most important thing in communication is presentable. You should be presentable. You should have the right attitude. You should have clear communication. You should be able to communicate your thoughts. And it does not, it has nothing to do with English communication.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're speaking in other languages, you should be able to communicate your thoughts clearly. You should be able to present your proposals in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that you learn with experience.
Mm-hmm.
If you are engaging in college activities, managing events, getting sponsorships for the college, if you are a fresher, if you are involved in these activities, then you have developed those skills.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have not, and then you need to either get to a finishing schools to learn these skills,
Mm-hmm.
because communication is the key to all the things that you want to achieve in life.
Mm-hmm.
Your communication shows your confidence, how trusted you can be.
Mm-hmm.
So you should focus on your communication skills as a fresher so
Mm-hmm.
you can easily get the right job. It is true that person with good technical skills sometimes are not able to crack an interview, get the job, but person with more communication skills get the job. The reason being, because you are human resources is one thing where it's a human capital,
Mm-hmm.
and an HR is also a human. There are certain factors that an HR manager selects on. One is technical part, but beyond that, they also look at the communication, confidence, attitude. Mostly, we hire in the education domain where teachers are being hired.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the requirement from the schools, the clients, is not whether the person has the qualification or not.
Mm-hmm.
Their more focus is on whether the person is willing to learn,
Mm-hmm.
whether the person has good English communication skills,
Mm-hmm.
they are able to express, they are presentable. If you talk about the early childhood education, preschool, these are the skills which are most important.
Mm-hmm.
If you are presentable to the children, if you are engaging, if your communication is good, if your attitude is good,
Mm-hmm.
then only they prefer you to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the qualification
Mm-hmm.
but you are not even able to talk, because
Mm-hmm.
your job is to talk and communicate with the students
Mm-hmm.
and teach them, and it works both ways,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in the education fraternity, communication is one thing which is a high demand skill.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know how to communicate properly, how are you going to teach,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in every business, in every organization, communication skills is the most important and most looked at skill. If you
Mm-hmm.
see any job description, there is mentioned that the person should have good communication skills.
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is something that you develop in college, that you develop with the people you work with or you are around with.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone should focus on building the right skill sets in communication skills and be more presentable.
Mm-hmm.
Just go and impress the HR with your communication skills, with your thoughts, with your ideas, what you are bringing to the table for the company. If you are able to do that, you are getting the job.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have clarity of mind and the right communication, they won't select you.
Mm-hmm.
It's as
Does
simple
not
as
matter
that.
how good you've been doing in the academics, if you're not able to express, it would be a difficulty in getting the right job.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, so that's a really practical thought. I definitely can relate with this. There have been a lot of people, especially in the finance tech background, who are good at technicals, but in the pre-screening call, only the HR says no to them, and they keep wondering why it happened. So, Hamid, we are towards the end of this conversation. I would now like to ask your final thoughts to somebody looking for job opportunities in that period of, let's say, applying to multiple job opportunities. Probably, I would call a struggle period. If somebody is in that phase of their lives, what would you be suggesting to them, being an expert in the recruitment domain?
So if you are a person who is applying for multiple jobs and still
Mm-hmm.
you are not able to get a call back from the HR, you need to revisit your whiteboard and rethink what you are doing and what you want to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you are as a fresher, you need to plan your career journey. You need to identify what jobs you want to apply for. And as I mentioned, that you need uh, to apply for the jobs in the right platforms where the companies are hiring.
Mm-hmm.
You need to identify the companies that you want to work with. You need to do the research on the job responsibilities, skill sets, on the companies that you want to work with. Make a document of your company's skill sets and experience that is required for that, and then do it as a project.
Mm-hmm.
Finding a job, you should do this work as a project, and you should identify companies, develop skill sets, and then apply for the jobs through the talent acquisition channels that the company is hiring.
Mm-hmm.
Build the right resume, which is very important. Make the right resume. Use online tools which are freely available. Use CV Tuner by Jobster, which is freely available.
Mm-hmm.
Make the resume as per the job. Apply for at least 10 jobs, but narrow down your search.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go for so many jobs. One more thing I want to add here: if you are getting a job offer and if you are accepting it, you should not ghost the employer.
Mm-hmm.
You should not, on the day of joining, you should show up. So that shows your credibility and ethics, and
Mm-hmm.
that is something which every person should have. If you won't do that, obviously you won't be able to find another job
Mm-hmm.
at a later stage. You have to build trust and credibility in the job market.
Mm-hmm.
So be more ethical, be build credibility with the HRs, and be a real person while you are giving interviews. If you
Mm-hmm.
are real in front of the HR, they will love you, and they want people who are truthful, because in this world, people are just lying to get whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are telling the truth, people, and if you don't have the right skills also, and if you're telling the truth, they would want you to be in their team because they know that you won't cheat on them.
Mm-hmm. So, as a famous saying says, uh, hire for attitude, not for skills, because skills can be taught. Attitude is something
Yes.
the candidates need to be developing and carry with them throughout their profession journey. So, I think yes, it has been really nice speaking with you over these points, which would definitely be helpful for someone who is actively looking for the right job opportunities. And you talked about the platform as well at Jobster, wherein candidates can go for free and then they can create their resumes. That would be helpful as well. So I'll also drop the link of the Swayam portal which you mentioned about for these certification courses. I believe it is a government portal, right? Which
Yes.
okay. So that
All the IITs,
Mhm,
IIMs, higher education institutions, even IGNU,
mhm,
all these institutions have developed courses, online
mhm,
courses. There are live courses also, recorded courses also. that you can opt in for, which are free.
Mhm.
And once you complete those courses, you get the credits, you get a certificate from that university. Just imagine you're completing a 36-hour or a 100-hour course from Swayam portal, which is from IIT Kanpur.
Mhm.
You complete that, you give your exam.
Mhm.
Exams are actually offline. You go to center
Okay.
and you give exams.
Okay.
And there are online exams also.
Mhm.
You give exam, and then you get a certificate or a diploma for whatever the purpose that the course is for from these institutions, which is authentic.
That would be a good
That
add-on to
adds
the profile.
value,
Mhm. Yeah. So
right?
yeah, I think that would be a good add-on to the profile as well. If you show, let's say, IIT, IIM or top institutes certification on the profile, that really adds value to the profile. So I think we have covered a lot in the conversation. It's definitely going to be a very insightful conversation for anyone who is watching it. So thank you so much for your time, Hamid. It has really been a nice experience speaking with you. Looking forward to many such more conversations with you in the future as well. Uh, on different topics, probably analyzing these topics in more detail as well. So thank you so much for your time. We'll be seeing you in the next, or let's say in the upcoming uh, episode sometime in the future. So thank you so much for your time, Hamid.
Thank you so much, Prince, for having me.